Shalom everyone. A few days ago I watched a video on YouTube regarding head coverings, and I came across a comment on that same video which I kind of got a bit upset at, just because the way he sort of described head coverings. But I do want to read the comment. It was by someone called Michael. It read, he took it out of context, speaking of the person who made the video. "It was only for church. Women need to dress modestly and show submission for their husband, but wearing a head covering outside of church can lead to confusion, just like Islam teaches. Head coverings can also be destructive to a Christian society." And that is the part of the comment that I got a bit upset at, the fact that he said head coverings can also be destructive to a Christian society. I actually have no idea how head coverings can be destructive. I think destructive is a somewhat strong word to describe head coverings. I believe that there are many things in today's society that would be actually destructive to a Christian society, so to say. However, I think if more believing women and Christian women themselves were to start wearing a head covering, I think that would be more of a blessing to them, and something that could potentially lead them to be even a bit more obedient to Yahweh. And so I definitely don't think that head coverings by any means are destructive. And so that is something that I found rather insulting. And I understand that many people have different views on head coverings, but I thought that was rather a strong word used to describe head coverings. And I thought, how on earth would that be destructive to a Christian society? Especially when I do know that I'm very much even more blessed to wear one. And like I said, I think many women, including Christian women, would be more blessed to wear it and would see, such a difference in perhaps even how they're treated, yet alone, the blessings that they would get from Yahweh. However, I do want to kind of bring up a few things that I actually do think that are unfortunately destructive to a Christian society. Not just Christian society, but also, within us as believing men and women. And one thing that has unfortunately crept into today's churches, and not just churches, but I think everywhere else, which I think is definitely not compatible with Christianity, is postmodernism. I think that is way more destructive in today's society, even within, our faith, because, as I said, I don't think it is compatible with Christianity, and I think, it unfortunately puts more value on, how you're feeling and on your feelings rather than actual facts, facts of Yah's word even. And I think that is definitely something that is destructive to not only a Christian society, but, even to us as believers initially. And I think what else, unfortunately, is destructive to our Christian society, let's put it that way, is a lack of actual Christian principles these days. I think that is on the low, these days, something that is lacking, unfortunately. And so that, I think, too, is destructive to a Christian society. And of course, I think in today's world, there is a lack, or rather, there is no family structure anymore that teaches and even supervises our children. I think children are sort of raised and grown up now to be of the world, to think like the world, to unfortunately become feminists or narcissists. And I think that in itself is destructive to a Christian society and something that needs to be evaluated, and people need to be more be made more aware of. So I think instead of, unfortunately, living in that destructive, society and, being integrated into that, I think we as believers and, let's say Christians, need to integrate Christian principles into this destructive society, as opposed to giving into it and giving into our feelings and, giving into our feelings more than, giving into and knowing facts, especially when it does come to, the word of Yah and being obedient to Him. So those are just some of the things that I think are destructive, actually, rather than head coverings being destructive to a Christian society. So I thought, I read the comment and I was like, wow. And I was going to actually comment back and I thought, no, I think I might just make a video instead. But yeah, I just thought that was sort of ludicrous, really. And as I said, I know there's plenty of people who have different views, including Christians themselves, regarding head coverings. But to call it, destructive is just absurd. And, there are many, many, many more things which I could think of that are destructive to Christian, society. But, those are just some that I mentioned. And they are actually destructive, as opposed to, doing something out of love for Yahweh to be more and more blessed. So, hopefully the person that made the video, or rather not the video, made the comment would, hopefully think about it more and more, maybe do some more research on head coverings, watch a few more videos, and hopefully, Yahweh would work on his heart to convince him otherwise. But yeah, I thought, wow, to think that something, a piece of cloth could be destructive to society. And I understand the part where perhaps, he thinks that if Christians were to wear head coverings, they would be confused and mistaken for, Muslims. I still do, but at the end of the day, you're doing it for Yahweh, you're doing it for a higher purpose. And so if I'm going to be confused for a Muslim, so be it. If I'm still going to be called a Muslim, so be it. I know my truth. And many other, other Christian women who choose to wear a head covering, know why they're doing it and for what purpose. And yeah, I know they're very much blessed. So I think it's just a difference of opinion and viewpoints. But, either way, I'd rather be, called a Muslim, as bad as it sounds, you know what I mean, rather than, disobeying Yah in any way, because he's the one who actually put it in my heart and convicted me to actually start wearing a head covering. So, all glory be to him. So yeah, I'll sort of leave it at that. And yeah, I think soon I will make another video regarding modesty, of course. So keep an eye out for that. But, I'll leave it at this, and thank you for watching, and until next time, shalom.
I found the answer. I like to pray.